The Biden impeachment talk getting louder today. Texas Senator Ted Cruz already laying out the case should Republicans take out the House and the Senate in this year's midterms. He says the GOP will be under enormous pressure to impeach the president if they do, in fact, win back control of Congress.
I think there are potentially multiple grounds to consider for impeachment. Probably the most compelling is the utter lawlessness of President Biden's refusal to enforce the border.
Well, you heard Cruz talk about the border there. There are other reasons, as he mentioned. Some have already talked about the failed Afghanistan withdrawal. And there's also this new article to talk about in relation to that today from Breitbart here. President Biden is hiding the arrest records, terrorism ties of tens of thousands of Afghan refugees brought to the U.S. since August of last year. Again, this is according to Breitbart. It also mentions that Republicans Josh Hawley, Rick Scott, and Ron Johnson, senators, recently asked the Biden administration to provide more information on the vetting process, but they have yet to receive those answers. And let's talk about this a little bit more with Texas Congressman Louie Gohmert. Congressman Gohmert, great to have you back with us.
Great to be with you. Thanks so much, John.
I mean, this is a damning report. We've already seen some bad news coming out of these Afghan refugees coming here. I mean, this is, again, just one of these horrible examples of what's gone wrong with the president's immigration policy with refugees coming from Afghanistan or from the southern border here. But what is your reaction to this Breitbart story?
Well, it is consistent with this president willing to harm America in order to try to make himself look more benevolent or something. But there is a constitutional obligation under Article 4 to prevent and secure every state from invasion. And we got more than 2 million or around 2 million that we know of came into the United States through our southern border. And then you've got the United States government under Commander-in-Chief Biden bringing people with terrorist ties into the country. I mean, this is so outrageous. We don't have the majority. We can't pass an impeachment motion. But for heaven's sake, at least the president ought to follow the old Hippocratic oath of doing no harm. But I know he didn't take that oath, but he took an oath to the Constitution, and he is violating it just constantly.
I know no one in the GOP, at least not publicly, is measuring the drapes in the Speaker's office right now, but I mean, all signs look like, and if history is any reference here, you know, the opposing party from the president after an election, they usually take back control of Congress here, and that's what all the experts are saying is going to happen. But if that does happen, is a Biden impeachment inevitable?
I think it ought to happen because he is just out of control. And I don't know that he knows what he's doing. In fact, when I was drafting articles of impeachment, I put a provision at the end that in the alternative, pleading in the alternative, if such be necessary, if it is found that President Biden has not intentionally or knowingly committed these acts that would justify impeachment, then he is not qualified to serve because of lack of mental capacity. That's a bit unusual, but that may be where we are too.
Yeah, I mean, the Washington Post, when the Afghanistan issue came up, and a lot of other members of Congress, Elise Stefanik being one of them, called for President Biden's impeachment, you know, they made it sound like we are living in this era of perpetual impeachment. I mean, they forget that, you know, it was the Democrats who were impeaching Republican presidents, you know, or Republican President Trump so often. But I mean, we worry about these reprisals back and forth, and that all we are going to see in Congress are investigations and impeachments.
Well, and that is a concern. But if Republicans are in the majority, that's not going to be all we see. It's not all going to be about impeachment, because we have got to undo some of the damage, some of the Orwellian lockdown mandates that keep coming from Mount Olympus, otherwise known as Capitol Hill. And so you're going to see a Republican majority trying to get back to where we were doing so well under President Trump. So I think it will lead in nicely into the 2024 election.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.